And the boys are back again. It's the final night of the PFL regular season. It's the featherweights, it's the welterweights. Welcome into Bet in the PFL 6. As always, my man Ian Parker is there. I am the coach. And Ian, we got to jump right in. The early card, 6 p.m. Eastern, is the pre-fight show. 6:30 p.m. Eastern is the early card. Then the main card, ESPN and ESPN Plus at 10 p.m. Eastern time. But as we look at the early card, a bunch of fights. What do you see?
Two of them really stand out. Kai Kamaka coming off that win over Bubba Jenkins, and Don Madge coming off that first-round finish of Brendan Ward. Looking forward to see if these two guys can do it again this week.
And with everything on the line, you don't want to tune in late. Then as we look at the main card, 4 big fights, what do you see here?
Umalatov, let's see if he gets it done here. He's fighting Brendan Ward. You know it's going to be kill or be killed there. And let's see if Braga can continue his rise after his father's passing. He won. He's looking forward to that prize. I'm curious to see how he does this week as well.
And then, of course, there is the main event. He is a crowd favorite. He is a stud, and he's got some work now to do. Brendan Loughnane and Justin Gonzalez right there at the top. Last fight of the night. What do you make of the main event?
For Brendan Loughnane, I think this is about his legacy this time around. He wanted to go back-to-back. It didn't happen last season. He ran into Pinedo's knee. That brought those dreams come crashing out quick. Now he's got Gonzalez to see if he could do it again, what he did against Cavallo in the first week.
Well, I tell you what, when you talk about PFL OGs, Brendan Loughnane is certainly one of those. It's going to see how he's evolved his game and how he's improved from last year to this year. All right, let's go back to the early card now, because there's a lot of fights that we can play. But Ian, real quick, before we talk about any fights whatsoever as far as handicapping, there's a lot of numbers this week, according to DraftKings Sportsbook, that are a little bit wider than what we would like. How does it affect your handicapping this week?
You got to be strategic here. You got to get a little creative. So it really pays. You say it pays to watch. You're going to have to, because when we do our pre-show, that's when we're going to give out the props. And that's what this card is really going to be. It's going to be our props, our parlays. We're really going to lean that way. And that's how we're going to make it to the pay window.
Yeah, and I certainly hope the fighters and the fighters' camps are talking and watched last week when there was no urgency, at least in my opinion, there was no urgency for finishes to get the job done for bonus points. Hopefully this week, the fighters show me that, because bonus points could mean moving on, could mean going home. All right, first fight on the early card as we look at it once again. And this is a welterweight fight that I want to focus on. Don Madge and Edmund Gracie, one of the legendary names in all of MMA. Let's start right there.
What we saw out of Gracie last fight is that his striking is just not there. If he can't get the fight to the ground, he becomes exposed. And he fought someone who's a good grappler. Madge, he's got great takedown defense. My concern for Madge originally was, will his power go with the going up in weight? The answer, it definitely does. He also has submissions. Don Madge gets this done inside the distance.
Yeah, I think it's rare that you see a fighter go up a full, 8-10 pounds in any division, and it doesn't affect them from a strength standpoint. Now, the fight right after that, it's going to be in the featherweight division. Kai Kamaka and Pedro Carvalho. Handicap that one.
Coach, I'm telling you right now, Kai Kamaka is the dark horse of this division. It would not shock me if he surprises everyone, wins. He was flawless against Bubba Jenkins. Carvalho's coming off that first-round finish loss to Loughnane. Kamaka is out for blood. If you're going to take this, it's inside the distance. And spoiler alert, Kamaka will absolutely be part of our parlay.
Did you hear what Ian just said? It's going to come out aggressive, could translate into an early finish, could translate perhaps into an under. You never know. Watch the pre-fight show on Friday to find out. Now, the 6th fight, at least scheduled right now, of the evening. And I always butcher his name, so you're going to say it for me correctly. Ramazanov against Musayev. I was close, but help me out here, Ian.
No, honestly, you were good. I don't think I could do it better there. So we're going to stick with how you said it. Even better, I'm not taking him, so I don't have to say it at all. I'm going to go with Musayev. The reason being is his opponent, Ramazanov, I think I actually did get it there, great on the ground, which we know. However, on the feet, he was getting caught a little bit. His opponent, Musayev, just went out in that last fight and destroyed Logan Storley as a huge underdog, and Storley is a former Bellator champ. Give me the dog here, Musayev, at plus odds. That's where it's currently at right now. It might change a little bit, but I like Musayev to keep this fight standing and watch that power go to work. I think he gets it done.
A reminder, we will update everything on the early card as it changes over the course of the next couple of days and as we head up to the pre-fight show on Friday. Now, let's transition back to the main card. And when you talk about PFL OGs, you can't go any further than Gabriel Braga on one side and Bubba Jenkins on the other side. They all have their stories, but they show up Friday night needing to put all of their stories to the side. You've got the runner-up from 2022. You got the runner-up from 2023. If you aren't familiar with either guy, first of all, where have you been? But second of all, we're going to help you out right here, right now.
Gabriel Braga, one of the many representatives of the future of the sport of mixed martial arts.
Bubba's turned himself around. The whole game of Bubba Jenkins looks very sharp. Oh, wow, what a beautiful double jab cross.
Here's a takedown from Bubba Jenkins.
Much more aggressive Bubba Jenkins than we've seen.
Flurry and Braga at the bell! Gabriel Braga right before the round ends!
Well, Ian, after I watch that, I am hyped, but I'd also be hyped to go to the pay window. How can I?
You know what? This is a real interesting fight because Bubba Jenkins is the one with the sense of urgency here. And when he's done that in the past, he's been able to get first-round submissions. It changes the way he fights. However, he's fighting someone in Braga who's the better striker. I think he's got better cage awareness too, and I think he keeps his fight standing. I'm going to go Braga here on the money line. The number is still good enough, but if you want to go prop, I would say, and Coach, I know you're going to hate this one, but this one goes over. I don't see either guy getting finished here. And I think for Braga, it's just win and get in. So that the format plays a big role in this wager.
Oh, my goodness. Well, if it's a smart way of doing it, then I'm okay with it. When you show a graphic that says needs to win inside 4 minutes of the second period and we're just dancing, that's when I've got an issue with it. But, hey, I don't run the show yet. Maybe someday, but I don't run the show yet, so the fighters can do whatever they want. Now, you know who can't do whatever they want? That is DraftKings Sportsbook, because they're always looking out for you. That's the only thing they care about. So they called me up last week and they said, hey, Coach, we need your help. I answered the phone and said, okay. When PFL fighters battle in the smart cage, you can't blink because it could all be over in a second. So DraftKings has an offer for you that's just that fast. Get $150 instantly in bonus bets when you bet just $5. So no matter what happens inside the cage, you get paid. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Sign up with the promo code PFL. Bet $5 to get $150 instantly. The action is so good, why bet PFL anywhere else? The crown is yours. So you better be betting at DraftKings Sportsbook because they're looking out for you. But we've got to move it forward here on Betting the PFL 6 with Ian Parker and the coach. Now, the second fight on the main card, which starts at 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Plus, is Magomed Umalatov taking on Brennan Ward. Now, whenever you have these names, anything can happen. What do you see happening, Ian Parker?
Well, one thing I can tell you, Brennan Ward is not the type of guy who's going to dance, and he needs a first-round finish or he goes home. So it's going to be kill or be killed, and you got someone on the other side, Umalatov, who was just pushed for 3 rounds. However, he is going to get the finish here. He gets it done inside the distance, and I'm even going to go as far as say under 1.5 in this fight with Umalatov coming out the victor.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about. We saw it last Friday night. The sports books have changed to a lot of 1.5 instead of 2.5 because they know that finishes are needed. Hopefully the fighters respond, and this is a fight that I'm talking about. All right, let's fast forward to the main event of the evening. Brendan Loughnane, Justin Gonzalez. We've already broke down what a great fight this is going to be, but we have seen in the past with Brendan Loughnane, when he's been a favorite, he's been shocked. What about Friday night?
Well, look, let's talk a little about Justin Gonzalez first, who was doing really well against Braga until he wasn't. And for Brendan Loughnane, this goes back to the format. Coach Loughnane always goes in there trying to fight his best. He's also not a stupid guy. With the first round finish, I think he just has to win and he gets in. However, Gonzalez is going to expose himself. He's going to try and come out also. I think he's a guy who's going to be aggressive here. So I'm going to play it safe. I think Loughnane in a double method of victory by TKO, KO, or decision. You're going to pay a little bit more, but it's going to go down one of those 2 ways.
So what you're saying is maybe, I don't know, the juice?
Maybe worth the squeeze.
You're darn right, and this could be one of those fights. Now, you guys are always texting me on the X, and you're always saying, Coach, what is Parker's Parlay going to look like this week? Well, you've come to the right place. What is Parker's Parlay going to look like this week?
Coach, it's going to be a little chalky, but as long as it gets me that plus number and it wins, that's all I care about. Let's go Maj, let's go Kamaka, let's go Umalatov, and let's go Loughnane. The 4 favorites, All they got to do is get it done. A little bit of above plus odds here, and I'll see you at the pay window for Parker's parlay this week.
You're darn right. It really keeps you interested throughout the night, too, as we spread those fights out. Now, the one thing I love about Ian Parker is he's not scared to make a bold prediction. Where are we going to go this week?
This year, I think we're 3 for 4 with our bold predictions, maybe even a little bit better. Last week, just missed it. This week, I ain't missing it, Coach. Umalatov, round 1 over Brennan Ward. Ward's aggression, it's his Achilles heel. It's also his superpower, but against Umalatov, no one's been able to use that superpower yet. Umalatov, round 1. Let's go.
That's a super bold prediction. And finally, before we get out of here, we made a lot of it last week on PFL 5. And it's not an over criticism of the fighters, but they need to understand where they're at. They need to understand how big the point system and how fast you do it is going to play into them moving forward into the playoffs and ultimately fighting for $1 million. So, Ian Parker, take me inside the locker room. And you got a fighter that potentially could fight for $1 million in November, but they need a finish. What do you tell them?
I think it's go big or go home right now. I don't think it's worrying about getting this as a win on your overall resume, because the way the PFL format works is living in the now. And next year you get a complete reset. So if you go out there and you're not in the playoffs, not to say we don't care that you won the fight, but there's a reason why this format is the way it is. You have a huge chance. And if you go out there and get a round 1 finish, that will be the biggest impact you can make, regardless of where you sit in the rankings.
And with all due respect to every single fighter on the card, the format is the star. Make it the star for you and play into what it is. Be aggressive, and let's see that on Friday night. So a quick reminder, the pre-fight show, E and I will be there 6 p.m. Eastern. Then the early card, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Then the main card, ESPN, ESPN Plus at 10 p.m. Eastern time, all live from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. That's going to do it for us. We'll see you in August right here on Betting the PFL. For Ian Parker, I am the coach, but we'll see you also Friday night. Oh, can't wait for PFL 6. Until then, be safe, take care, and we'll see all of you at the pay window.